Okay. Hello, everyone. It is another Tuesday, and we're back with another edition of a midweek IPL review. Thank you for all of those of you that have been following us and staying tuned for all the commentary and all the live action that we and the reviews that we bring to you. Again, this promises to be a fantastic episode. We have three great matches that we're reviewing, some good analysis to come. But as we did the last time, we're not going to begin with the review. We're going to begin with previews and predictions. So Rishabh, let's jump into the previews and predictions, beginning with the match that's going on today, which is we're doing Gujarat versus Punjab right now. For the folks that are watching, Gujarat are currently 115 for 6 at the start of the 17th over. Rishabh, what's your take? Where do we stand? What's happening with this match?
I think it's a no-brainer that with the kind at the time that we are reviewing this, it's a no-brainer that it's Punjab's game to lose here on. They've done very well with regards to the first 17 overs as such. They've almost restricted Gujarat to a below par score, I would feel. But you cannot really put up with regards to the Gujarat unit as such. But I still feel it's Punjab's games to lose from here on.
I tend to agree with you. I think Punjab has done a great job with the bowling, which has not been a strong suit for them through the tournament. But again, I wonder what's Punjab's strong suit. They keep going to and fro, right? I think from a Gujarat Titans perspective, perhaps there's a sentiment of karma catching up with them because, we've been saying it for a long time, you and I, that on paper, their team isn't a top 2, top 3 team, but they're there because someone's always been stepping up and putting their hands up. They still have some good bowling in them. So let's see how it goes. But I think I tend to agree with you that Punjab has done most of the heavy lifting thus far, and they should be taking it home. But then Punjab is Punjab, right? So we know that in the past they've been a little flaky in key moments. But looking forward to Punjab winning this match in a decent manner. Which brings us to the next match. Is a very juicy match for us to predict. RCB Chennai, always a great rivalry from down south. Let me go first on this one. I do wish RCB wins this match. As has been clear, I'm not a unbiased commentator here. I am an RCB supporter. That said, I fear Chennai is looking the most dangerous team. I know Kohli's got some runs in there, but we've got to be honest. Chennai is clicking on all engines right now. I was so impressed with the runs that Gaikwad got in the last match. Their bowling unit's firing as well. Mukesh Chowdhury is delivering wickets for them. Jaddu is controlling the run rate. But I think the biggest thing Chennai has had going for them, which is what has put Chennai on the map all this while, is Dhoni back as captain, right? So you've got to put smart money on Chennai for tomorrow. That said, I wouldn't claim to be smart money. I think RCB is also due a big performance if their fortunes in the top 4 are to be anywhere in vision. So certainly difficult one for me to predict. But where do you stand, Rishabh? I think a much easier prediction for you.
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup with Faf playing against CSK, and more importantly, CSK with MS at L. But yeah, I also feel that it's going to be CSK all the way. I feel it's going to be a close contest. I expect Virat to again score some more runs, get into that form. But I feel that it's going to be Chennai that's going to cross the line.
But we'll touch on the points table in a bit, Rishabh. But I think this match is if you look at the points table, and maybe I'll just bring the points table up for a quick moment. The way the points table stands right now, right? I sense that it's curtains for Punjab, Chennai, and Mumbai at this point. I genuinely don't think, despite the fact that both Punjab and Chennai are actually putting in good performances at the moment, they've just left too little for too late. right? So you've got the three teams at the top that have cemented their position, in my opinion. And then we've got the next three teams, which is SRH, RCB, and Delhi, maybe to an extent KKR, fighting for that fourth spot, right? Um, Again, a little doubtful on KKR, given that they're 10 matches in and they're only at 8 points. Delhi, we'll come to Delhi in the next match prediction that we have. But yeah, it's just a shame for me that uh, RCB needs that performance to get into the top four. I feel if RCB doesn't win the next match, it's going to be very, very dicey for RCB to get into the top four. Chennai, regardless of how well they
on that front, I feel even if RCB loses that match,
Mhm.
they would probably hope for Delhi to win against Sunrisers, because the only thing that Delhi has with them that is that they have played a match lesser than that of Bangalore, and they have 2 points lesser. So if Delhi happens to win the match, the second game that's going to come a day after tomorrow, I think that's going to decide a lot of fortunes for these three teams. Then they would all be at the same points. It's just that RCB would have played a match extra.
But
So
I fear that's not going to help RCB.
with the net run rate because of
Yeah,
their.
that 168 all out is essentially going to kill them on net run rate. So if RCB doesn't win the match against Chennai, I fear that it's goodbye for them, because if RCB doesn't win that match, they're dependent on others losing matches, and chances are, even if they lose matches, they RCB is not going to be able to catch up with the net run rate, right? So a very tense match for me, certainly. Um, yeah, let's see what happens. It's certainly the heart versus the brain for me tomorrow. Let's see how that pays out. Which brings us to the third match that we're going to preview or predict, which is Delhi versus Sunrisers, right? Again, momentum-wise, Sunrisers just stumbling a little bit from that awesome form they had, but I've got to go with
So
Sunrisers.
does Delhi. So does Delhi. They have, I think, lost 2 games on a
Yeah.
trot. Very close games. The one against RR with that no ball fiasco, and losing another game over the weekend against, I think it was Lucknow, one of the matches that we would review as well today. Two close games that they have lost, I think they have also on the side. But I feel it's Delhi that's gonna cross the line in that game.
I'm not so convinced, because if you look at Delhi's performances, their stumbling block is really in their batting, and in particular Warner. Right, Warner is the only one in that side that can take the innings through. The others have generally been hit and miss. They can come in, add quick runs, but if Warner shakes out there, and I fear that his alma mater, or his long-standing club, might have a little bit of a ace up their sleeve with getting Warner. You never know. Warner might dig his socks in and say, "I'm not going to give my wicket away to Hyderabad." But I think that competition is all about SRH versus Warner. If Warner hangs in there, I think Delhi have a chance. But if SRH get Warner out early, I think it's going to be smooth sailing for them.
I don't know. I somehow feel it's going to be a one-sider with Delhi just thrashing Sunrisers out of the game, boosting their net run rate and destroying the net run rate of Sunrisers. I just somehow feel it's going to be a run feast if Delhi is put to bat in the game as such. But I just feel it's Delhi uh, that should just destroy that game for Sunrisers as such.
All right, so we're torn in between that, and I'm sure that as these matches keep going on over the next couple of weeks, folks, we're going to see a lot of changes and shifts and impact on the points table. And I think we're getting to the most juicy part of the tournament over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for a lot more analysis from us, which brings us to the interesting bits that we want to discuss, which is the three matches. And I know we've spent a lot of time previewing and predicting stuff, so we're going to go a little quicker in the matches to come, beginning with Delhi Lucknow. Rishabh, where do we stand with Delhi Lucknow, and what's your take on that match?
I honestly felt that even though the game went a little close, it turned out to be positive. It had a lot of positives for both the teams, even for Delhi, even though they lost with a margin of 6 runs. you see the kind of performance that Delhi had over the entire tournament so far. They've gotten to great starts with their openers, which is Warner and Prithvi Shaw. Both of them had failed. Pant hadn't really gotten that innings, or barely an inning or two, where he had been able to turn up with a good strike rate and had scored runs. Mitchell Marsh has been coming in and out, and he hadn't really been able to get going. So that was a big positive, that despite having 13 runs in first 3 overs, 4 overs, losing two of their um, prime, both the prime openers, they still got to a very good power play score. And I think that's when the highlight of Delhi. They go into the philosophy. They go into the match with that philosophy that they want to score as many runs as possible, make the most of power play, and put that pressure back on the opposition. Having said that, and the same thing goes on, Deepak Huda had been performing well for Lucknow here and there, probably not getting enough time or enough balls, or wasn't really in the right situation where he could, prove the value to his team. And I think that just came out wonders in the last game. KL Rahul was exceptional yet again, playing the role of the anchor, putting up the accelerator mode as required. So I think it was just too good a game to witness, despite the result that came out.
Yeah, I think my take is, again, and as I've expressed already, I think Moshin Khan won them the game. That crucial wicket of up top, he took Warner out early.
Yeah.
And I reiterate, I think if Warner goes early, Delhi is going to struggle, because yes, they scored runs. They had a lot of batsmen actually were in pretty high run rates. Their strike rates were 140 plus for a lot of them, and that's how they got close. I think Akshar Patel played a fantastic innings towards the end, and that's what got them close. But really, they don't have the ability to string a partnership if Warner is gone. And Mohsin Khan took Warner out. And that, I think, put them on the back foot for most of the game, despite having good run rates through the game, right? But yeah, like you said, good match, good cricket all round, good match to watch. So Rishabh, what's the other match? Again, a blinder of a match. I hope you didn't miss that match, but which match are we reviewing next?
It was Chennai versus Sunrisers Hyderabad, a game that uh, just changed the fortunes to a certain extent with regards to the unit that we have always spoken about, Chennai. I'm not going to talk about how probably this is the game where they would upside down the entire tournament, the inflection point as such. But I think it was long coming for Chennai. Everything happened for them in that one game. And I think that just might have worked wonders for them.
I think they've been showing these signs, right? Like if you look at Gaikwad, I think the last 2-3 matches he's been showing signs of being really, really powerful again. And Devon Conway, my God, what an innings! He anchored when Gaikwad was going heavy, and then once Gaikwad got a little in between phases, I think Devon Conway took off, and both of them, they put on one hell of a partnership. Not much.
Just a little heartbreak for Gaikwad for missing out on a
90
well-deserved 100. But yeah, I think excellent game for Chennai. Even the approach that Hyderabad had to chase down, they had paced their innings well. They were in the game, I think, till the second half. It's just a couple of good overs from Chennai, and chasing 200 has never been easy. You need to get going from the one over, even if you have. And that's where bowling team comes in, right? You just need to get that one or two good overs, and the pressure is just too heavy as such.
I think I had a earlier theory of 220 being the inflection point. Now that the pitches are getting a little more worn out, that number is sliding down, in my opinion. In general, scores have slid down 15, 20 runs, right? So I think we're back to that same thing, that around 200, any team batting first, hitting 200. And surprisingly, I've not been seeing too much dew in most of the matches, Rishabh. So
that's a good thing. Credits to, I think, the support system and the groundsman have been, the staff who has been taking care of that.
I think weather is playing a big part as well, in my opinion. I'm sure the groundsmen are doing a fantastic job, but weather coming to the rescue of the IPL. I'm sure there's a lot of prayers going on. if you're watching, pray for no dew for more interesting matches. Even if you're not watching, just pray for no dew, right? Um, Anything else to cover off in that match, Risham?
Another thing that I probably noticed is the smartness that Puran had brought in. Although he was dropped like twice, thrice in that game by multiple fielders, but the sensible thing that he did, which probably Pollard missed out, although it does not really matter for Mumbai right now, is that even though he knew that the game is out of their reach, he still took the game as close to Chennai score as possible, because I mean they are aware that the net run rate might come into play. And I think that was really smart on Puran's behalf, on SRH behalf as such, to take the game as close as possible, not let the net run rate affect them or upset them later as the tournament goes towards the playoffs. So I think that was brilliant on Puran's end as such.
Hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think good cricket all round. I think these are two teams that are playing some of the best cricket we've seen from them all tournament, and a fantastic match to watch. If you haven't watched it, please go try and watch it again. This is one match you don't want to miss. Talking about matches we don't want to miss, Rishabh, there's one match that I'm sure you haven't missed. What match is that?
Uh, it's a difficult one to probably review as a supporter of Rajasthan Royals for last almost 14 years and counting. But yeah, the game that happened yesterday between Rajasthan Royals and Kolkata Knight Riders, a comeback game for Kolkata after losing 5 games on a trot. Some respite for them there. It's just they had won. They had pretty much won the game in the first innings itself. Yes, Rajasthan Royals have a brilliant bowling lineup this year, but it was a little below par score with regards to the way Royals had gone about, and just gave Kolkata that setup as to how would they want to pace their innings. So a brilliant chase by Shreyas Iyer, the Nitish Rana or Rinku Singh for that matter. But I think it was their bowlers who had done a pretty good job in restricting Royals to that below par score as such.
I'd actually say two things, right? One is, of course, the bowlers. I mean, Umesh Yadav up top was absolute live wire. But I think equally, you got to appreciate the fielding that KKR put in. There's a lot of commentary that the commentators of the match were actually doing on Rinku Singh and Anukul as well, just covering off the boundaries, taking those key catches. They say catches win matches, and I don't think KKR dropped any in that match, right? So I think they put pressure consistently by getting wickets, and I don't know if Sanju Samson was actually pulled down by an injury or if he just couldn't time the ball. It seemed to me like he couldn't time the ball very well after his initial, his initial barrage, but they simply couldn't get the run rate going, right? And that's why they fell 15, 20 runs short. And beyond that point, unless you do absolute brilliance with the ball, with cool heads like Shreyas Iyer in there, that chase was never really going to challenge them too much.
No, I think there were a lot of insights that you could draw from that match. I think this was KKR hasn't really been able to create that great atmosphere in their room, in their dressing rooms as such. They have made the maximum changes in the last 8, 9, 10 games that they have, 9 games that they have played. I just felt that probably they're now reaching towards a unit, a lineup that could give them the maximum returns. I still feel Finch hasn't really clicked this season, and I won't be surprised if Finch is getting dropped next match. I would still like to see you trust your MVP from the last year to back him up and show the confidence that he would carry. I feel that maybe Venki and Narayan are your best choice when it comes to opening the game. Should a wicket fall early, probably Indrajit could be sent in as another just pinch hitter, just go and hit or miss as an option, because you've got Shreyas Iyer, Nitish Rana who could, and now Rinku Singh. And the fact that I liked the most about the chase yesterday was the calmness that he had brought in. When Shreyas had gotten out, it still gave it created an opportunity for Rajasthan, and it was not Nitish Rana who won the game. It was Rinku Singh because of that 40 odd run of 20 balls.
Yep.
And they had like 50 runs partnership, 55 runs partnership, of which 42 was scored by Rinku Singh in 20-24 balls.
Yeah.
So I think he brings in that calmness. And you see the innings yesterday, right? They chase their entire score against a bowling lineup of Rajasthan, like that of Rajasthan Royals, without Sunil Narayan or Andre Russell or Anukul Roy getting a chance to come to bat as well. So I feel Finch has not really been able to perform. So maybe getting Venki Iyer back in the game, um, and probably trying for Pat Cummins as another option that could give you that 4 quota of foreign players as such, and that's something that they might want to look at from a unit as such.
Yeah, Pat Cummins for Saudi, you mean, right? I think
Not Saudi. I think Shivam Mavi was just brought in that game yesterday because he has that excellent records against um, Rajasthan Royals. I feel instead of Shivam Mavi and Finch, get in Venki Iyer and then Pat Cummins, it gives you enough and opportunities. It gives you enough credibility with regards to their deep batting unit. They'll have too many options, so a lot of their players could be just sent as a hit or miss, just go from the ball one, and a lot of variety and depth in the bowling unit as well.
Yeah, I feel Aaron Finch has been struggling for many years in the IPL now, until he unleashes a century out of nowhere or a massive score, right? But I see what you're saying. I'm surprised that Aaron Finch keeps getting opportunities up top, given the explosion of the number of openers we really have nowadays compared to other middle order batsmen. So Aaron Finch should go. Quick question on Rajasthan, Rishabh. Karun Nair. Do you think it should rather be Yashasvi Jaiswal, or
Yeah, I think probably after yesterday's game, they might go back to Yashasvi Jaiswal. I think Karun Nair has also gotten fair chances already in this season. Yesterday was another opportunity for him because he had gotten in early. There was pressure. All he needed to do was just build the innings. But I think it's if you're just looking at as a batter in the middle order, probably spending or investing or just backing Yashasvi Jaiswal might give you more returns because of the quality player that he is, and that just gives them flexibility of a left-right combination as well. Surprisingly, I did like the move of sending in Riyan Parag a little early, and that's something that had worked. That I would like to feel work because it just gave Riyan Parag that more time at the crease than what Hetmeyer has already gotten throughout the tournament so far. So it's just making their entire unit getting more time on at the field, scoring those runs that are required. But if you're getting in Karun Nair for 13 balls, 13 runs, that's a job that Riyan Parag could also do. So I still feel that they need to go back to their top 4 that they had at the beginning of the term. I still feel Butler and Padikkal are your best openers. On the kind of opener, on the wicket that falls, I think just Yashasvi Jaiswal or Samson can come in. But I feel if you're having Karun Nair as a batter who's just there to hold the innings, Riyan Parag or even Ashwin could do that job for you. So I still feel the need to change that bit. Other than that, I think they're on their track. Kuldeep Sen has been growing and evolving and contributing. So I think they're pretty much sorted. It's just a game that never really clicked for them as such.
Do you think their batting is a little shallow? I mean, I see this a lot of Virat Kohli teams. Like you get 5 specialist bowlers, you get 5 specialist batsmen, 1 wicket keeper that can bat. And hey, RR is exactly doing that. I think the moment you start seeing Ashwin come in, that essentially signals the end of batting. I don't see too much batting past that point. Maybe 1 batsman shot, maybe 1 all-rounder shot, really?
1 all-rounder shot, definitely. Because even if you look at all the last 10 games that RR have played in this season, they've pretty much had like 5 bowlers. Even though Riyan Parag could bowl that 1 odd over, 2 odd overs, but they haven't really gone to that option. So I think the way they had gone about creating this team, it just was six batters, 5 bowlers, 1 batter or 2 batter who could give you that 1 over if required and if they struggle. So that's how they have come up. It just also on this other note, it just shows the confidence that they want to have, they want to put in their bowlers. right? That even if you're going for a run, we still trust you to come back and deliver a strong over for us or a strong spell for us. It could go either way, but I feel that yes, they're definitely a bowler short or a bat, an all-rounder short for that matter.
Makes sense. All right. Any last comments, Rishabh, before we wrap the show up?
No, I think we are now finally entering into a stage where a lot is happening. And the best part is that a lot of upsets have happened and are expected to happen. And I think it's now time for the teams at the bottom to give more opportunities to try their bench strength and look at it from creating a team for the future, and the teams at the top to look beyond playoffs. I think for more or less a lot of teams, it's already are almost there. So maybe it's time for them to try their best unit, their best lineup that they would want to play during playoffs. So I think it's just making sure ticking those few small check boxes.
Has increasing the number of teams actually caused us to have less exciting finishes? Because, we can see the top three and the bottom three fixed. There's just four teams that are essentially scrambling around for one spot. And of the four, realistically, there's only two, in my opinion. So has it made it a little less exciting maybe? Or is it just how this season has played out?
I think it's just about this season. A lot of things could change because from next season, the number of games would increase. The span of the entire IPL season would increase. The whole facet of home games and away games would also come into picture with the other teams. So I think it's just this season. And let's be honest, the bio bubble hasn't really been grateful and helpful with the players as well. So I think it's because of that whole fatigue and too much cricket that they have been playing all around the corner, and more importantly, the bio bubbles that they all have to stay into. I think that is somewhere or the other creating some sort of effect on the performances and the games that we witness.
Not to mention, most of the teams are brand spanking new, right? I mean, there's not too much of their momentum that they've retained. So, look, folks, as we've been saying, the season's just getting interesting. We're bound to have a lot more juicy matches, a lot more fun coming up in the next few weeks. Please stay with us. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. Last comment from my side is I think there should be some points ducked off, at least for fair play, for Chennai to change a captain mid-season. Come on, you're not allowed. Go back to Jadeja. He was doing much better for RCB. On that note, thank you, folks. Have a good day, and we'll see you.